Hi, my name is Wendy Ann Clark, and this is my channel Transformation, where I talk about how God desires that you would be transformed into the image of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit. And here, I'm just bringing a short daily reflection that I hope encourages you to daily pursue the person of Jesus, that you would be changed over time. And today I want to talk about just practice being slow to speak, practice restraint, and don't become angry easily, and that we need to practice these things. In James 1:19-20, James writes this: "Know this, my beloved brothers. Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, for the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God." And Proverbs 17:27 says this: "The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered." So this is something that we want in our lives. And I was at the jail doing a church service the other day, and a woman said, "Oh, please pray for me. I need to be slow to speak." I wasn't slow to speak, and I apologized for what I said, but pray for me to have restraint. And we talked about this a little bit. This is exactly what we're supposed to do. Some ways to practice this, because restraint and being slow to speak is a practice. Practice not interrupting someone, but waiting and listening carefully. Practice letting someone else have the last word. Restrain yourself. So like on social media, just let somebody have the last word. Practice asking good questions and then listening carefully to the answers. And listen to see if you can learn something. That's a different kind of listening than just listening till someone gets to the end. So see if you can learn something. Practice looking at people and giving them your full attention, like looking them in the eye. I can tell you a bad example of a youth pastor that I had. I remember he was a very gregarious, outgoing kind of a person, a force to be reckoned with, one of those kind of people, charismatic person. And I remember I was having a conversation with him, and the whole time he was looking over at my shoulder. He was never looking at me. I was very aware that he was not listening to me at all. And that day, I lost a lot of respect for that person because he couldn't just slow down and listen to me. And I was aware of that. So don't do that. Practice calming your mind and stilling, getting your body still to really focus your attention. Practice sometimes not sharing your opinion, not saying it out loud, not typing it, not sharing it. Sometimes it's important to speak up, so practice praying for wisdom to know when to speak up, but sometimes it's important to be silent. So practice, ask God to know when to be silent. Practice that as well. Don't ever hold back because you're afraid, because that's not really a good reason, but do hold back as an act of self-discipline when not saying something is going to honor God and it's going to be the wise thing to do. Do consider the situation and the audience and the purpose of either speaking up or not speaking out. For example, in Bible study, sometimes I will be quiet for the sake of someone who's new. I will be quiet to encourage someone else to speak. I maybe won't introduce a very deep idea that I've been thinking about after having been a Christian for decades among a small group of people who are new and walking through the Lord. I will give consideration to what they need to know and to understand. And I might just hold back on some of my thinkings about things. In praying in a group, pray shorter prayers. Don't pray about everything. If you want other people to pray, then if you open and you pray for everything, then people will feel like I didn't have anything left to pray about. Even I know, of course, they could pray about the same things, but this is the way people think. So be aware of that. If you pray shorter prayers, you encourage other people to join in. Also, if you pray a short prayer and then a few people pray, and then you pray a short prayer and then a few people, and then you encourage other people to think, "Oh, I might be able to pray more than once." Short prayers more than once. So something to practice. On social media posts, you don't have to say everything you know. I often think now I sort of have a rule for myself. If I'm posting in response to something somebody else posted, so my friend posted it. If I'm responding to her, I might give a longer answer. But if somebody else responded to her and I'm responding to that person, I'm going to try to keep that short if I'm going to respond at all. I want to be careful about that. Sometimes I mess up. Well, what do I need to do? I go to sometimes and delete things when I can. I think, oh, that was a little too much. Sometimes I'm too much. Also apologize to people. And sometimes I need to regroup and talk to God about, like, what does he want me to do? What does he want me to say? Maybe I need to confess if it was sinful. Confess to God, confess to that person, ask for forgiveness. Like, we make mistakes. The difference between a person walking with the Lord who makes a mistake and a person not walking with the Lord who makes a mistake is what we do next. Not always the mistake. Sometimes we mess things up. So I take ownership. I look directly at my mistakes. I own them. I confess. I repent when it's sin. Sometimes mistakes are just blunders and not sin. Know the difference, but confess when it's sin and maybe ask for forgiveness or apologize if that's the right thing to do. Practice praying as you're listening to people, and praying before you speak, like quick prayers in your mind, not out loud. Not out loud, you might seem really strange. Make it a habit to examine yourself. Ask God to reveal bad habits that you have. Maybe you need to change some things. Begin to actively practice good habits that you want to have and to reject bad habits that you don't want to have anymore. Some things to pay attention to and to watch out for in yourself is if you're interrupting others, if you're not paying attention to what someone else is saying, if you're not looking someone in the eye and giving your full attention, if you're spending your time working to form your response before the other person is even finished expressing their thought, so you're just waiting for them to end. It really is okay for there to be a pause in the conversation while you think about what the other person is saying. And maybe after the person is done talking, you don't talk right away. Maybe. Be careful not to become defensive and just to work to let that feeling go. Watch that you're not monopolizing a conversation. Make sure that you're letting the other person speak, that it's conversation and not a monologue. So practice that if that's the kind of slow speak you need to practice. In a group, make sure you're letting a lot of other people speak. There's one girl in our one woman in our jail service that we have that she immediately answers the question and talk. And so I'm wanting to encourage her, like, okay, can you stop for just a moment and let's see if somebody else has something that they want to say. That's a practice that we all need to learn, that the other people might have something that they want to say. Stop yourself if you find yourself listening to respond, but not trying to learn. So you're just waiting for the person to stop so that you can say what you've already decided you're going to say. You want to stop doing that. You want to really listen to see if you can get the other person's perspective and if you can learn something. That's a different kind of listening. Stop yourself if you tend to fidget. Focus your attention. Don't tune out. Don't look over the person's shoulder. Don't be thinking about something else. Even in a group, turn your attention to that person that's speaking in the group. Don't just let yourself just all wander. Be careful to not speak before you've stopped and thought about what you're going to say. Don't just let stuff come out of your mouth. Stop yourself from responding harshly or sarcastically or in a dismissive way or in an insulting manner or from calling the other person names or from belittling the other person or from cornering the other person or being somehow physically or verbally threatening. None of these things belong among the people of God. And they don't belong there when you're talking to other believers. And they don't belong there when you're talking to people that are atheists or unbelievers, not believers. None of those things. Pay attention to what you're doing. Force yourself to slow down, to listen. Practice. Restraint, self-control. Years ago, I heard a lawyer talk about how he would counsel his clients to sit in a relaxed posture while they were listening, to sit in a relaxed posture. And I remember Bill Goff talking about how he would tell his clients to open your hands like this and to rest them in your lap under the table, because you won't be able to be the same. You try it. Open your hands in a receiving sort of posture and notice how that helps you not to jump in so quickly. It does something to you. It helps you. So calms you down. So try it and see. I also now pray pretty much almost always with the open hand position. My eyes are closed, but my hands are open and I'm open to receive. It's a posture that helps me to pray differently. So you try and you see. You slow down and listen better and think before you respond. So this hand posture or body posture really works. And it's especially helpful in a situation where you might feel tense or fearful or anxious. You can try that out. I hope I've given you something to think about today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like it, please hit like, share it if you think somebody else might like it, hit subscribe if you want to help me out on YouTube, and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when I post new content. And thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.